Hey everybody, how you doing? We are the music of Kiss. Cheers everybody. I am Jason. This is Peter.
Cheers.
And welcome to yet another episode. What is this episode 32, I think? I literally lost count after like 15. But I think it's 32. Sounds good. Sounds right. So, thank you again for joining us.
There was some experimental things in there, so...
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking album focus review kind of shows. This is the 32nd. There's some special episodes, we'll call them that. Anyway, tonight, for your viewing pleasure, this bad boy right here, Kiss Unplugged. Oh, we should show the vinyl, actually. That shows up better. Look at that. So new that it's still wrapped up in its bubble wrap, although I have opened it. Not a gatefold, but there are 2 albums in here. And a poster. You know, it just looks like that, you know.
When did the vinyl come out, I wonder?
I think it came out when the album came out.
That's...
Maybe? I don't know.
This is the,
I guess there was a yellow vinyl.
No, this is 2014.
Oh, was it? Okay.
So 2014, I guess, is when all the stuff, or is that the Back to Black series? That's 2012, I think, maybe Back to Black series.
Anyway, there's the cover. Kind of weird that it has those borders around it. But hey, we're going to show you the poster. Now, this poster is the inlay card in the CD. So it's not like you haven't seen it before. But there you go. You know,
That's pretty thick stock.
it is thick.
Yeah.
You know, now, I could have 2 of these posters and I wouldn't hang one up. Not the biggest fan of the poster, but hey, it's always cool to get some kind of insert, inside an album.
All right, wait, let me smell it.
Yes.
Oh my God! When I got Somewhere in Time on cassette, Somewhere in Time and Alive were the first 2 things I ever drummed to, and on cassette, the first print, it came out that week. It came out, smelled like this, like that really sweet,
Oh man.
poly, whatever it is. Oh, I haven't smelled that for years. That's what it smelled like. And I have Somewhere in Time on cassette now, and it's not the same. It's just a matte finish.
Stay tuned for our next episode. Peter and Jason smell cassettes.
Yeah, only Iron Maiden cassettes.
Anyway, so Peter, first of all, before we start in on talking about Unplugged and the things that led up to it and the things that happened after it, I have a Kiss confession. That's confession with a K. Yes,
Oh my
I do.
God, this is going to be bad.
The confession is, I wasn't a huge fan of this album until trust me, this ends well. Until like 2 or 3 months ago, actually. Now that doesn't mean I thought it sucked. It just meant when I wanted to listen to Kiss, I wanted it to be, hard driving electric music. And I kind of, this came out and it was like, okay, that's cool, Listened to it a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of put it back on the shelf. Never really revisited it. I don't know why.
Well, it's not really what you normally would or went to Kiss for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted my Kiss electric, wanted the guitar solos to, be right there in my face, things like that. I don't get me wrong. I love acoustic music. I'm huge Bob Dylan fan. Okay, but he is basically acoustic based. Kiss is not, and I don't know. I always thought, okay, it's Kiss Unplugged, and I don't have.
It was an interesting thing. I mean, I guess at the time I was kind of happy that with other bands having done Unplugged, as a Kiss fan, I was kind of rooting for Kiss. Yeah, Kiss got an Unplugged. That's awesome. I remember I was always really excited when Animalize came on because they ended up having a pretty good relationship with MTV over the years, even though it didn't start well. I guess.
Paul was always stopping by. I think he was just flirting with Martha Quinn.
In the first couple of years, they had a rocky relationship with MTV for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because of the labels and stuff like that, and I think Polygram wanted to be paid. And then once Kiss and everybody realized it isn't going to work like that, you're going to sell millions of records just because it's on the air. Then they started making videos and doing the right thing with them, giving them to MTV and stuff. But so then they did the Live Uncensored. That was always really cool. I was always waiting for it to are they going to play it again, or And then they did then they did this for MTV, and I thought this was really cool. Although I felt the same thing. Like I thought,
Yeah.
it's it's obviously not hard rocking, but at the time though, like you, I didn't play it constantly. I
No.
liked it though, and when I saw this playlist and I saw Coming Home, and I kind of thought Plastercaster, ooh, that's pretty cool too. And then Going Blind and like World Without Heroes. I mean, I was shitting my pants. I was because you could feel something was just the fact that this was happening at all. It was exciting. It was like, what is going to happen
Yeah.
next?
So this came on the heels of the convention tour that they had been doing all summer in '95, right? So
That's why they got it together. That's
yeah.
why they're good. They've been doing these songs.
they've been rehearsing for like 2 months prior to this.
Yeah.
Songs like Coming Home, Plastercaster, they played all summer, which was cool because before they were doing that, you never heard those songs played live, So yeah, they were ever since really the Hot and Shade tour, when they started to bring some of those old songs back. You kind of felt this thing building, building up, and this is the apex of that right here. This is them just I mean this playlist is incredible. Did you ever think you would get See You Tonight, Going Blind, and World Without Heroes on the same
not.
CD?
No.
So
Those are all the songs that I loved.
yeah,
That other Kiss friends didn't really. I mean, Going Blind people did, but like World Without Heroes, I was excited for that. I was really excited for that.
Yeah, I can't believe they included an Elder song on there.
Yeah, totally.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says this is a song from an album some people can't get enough of, and some people, what did he say? Get way too much of, or something like that.
yeah.
As soon as he said that, some guy yells out, "The Elder," in the crowd on the video. You can hear it.
Yeah. So it took some balls for them to do that, but I'm glad they did. And don't get me wrong, it's honestly one of the highlights on here for me. But why See You Tonight? Out of all the songs, they
Well,
have,
once in a while, Paul or Gene just gets a pick. It's something they just want to do, I suppose. That might be it. But for me, that was always a highlight of the solo album.
oh, without a doubt.
Plus, doable with acoustics.
Yeah, and I will go on record saying it's by far the most Beatlesque song in their catalog. Period.
And also the set list was already proven at the time. I mean, they'd already done it in front of crowds over and over and over, and they know which songs were really going off. They knew.
Anyway, to kind of piggyback what I was saying earlier, so wasn't the biggest fan of the album. Again, I didn't think it sucked or anything, but a couple months ago, had a little extra cash, and I like to, I collect Kiss vinyl, and I just realized, I don't have Unplugged on vinyl. So I did pick it up, and it came, and this became my get home. I get home from work at like midnight. This was the album I would put on when I got home from work. Maybe pour a little glass of whiskey, put some vinyl on, just listen to music for like an hour before I go to bed. And it was really, really hitting me. I remember texting you, and I know I texted Shane, like, man, Unplugged's fucking good.
Yeah.
It's like,
It actually is.
wow. It's like, it was really hitting me. And that's when I brought up, like, hey, we should maybe do an Unplugged episode at some point. So you're catching me in the midst of, like, it's almost like I'm just discovering this album. So, I might sound extra excited.
To the
That's
depth
why.
that you've discovered it, that you've taken it in.
I
yeah.
didn't realize it was as fucking good as it is.
But at the time, us hard rock fans, also heavy metal and hard rock and Kiss fans, we didn't quite know what to think of it, of course. But I was glad that they did it and they were in the spotlight on MTV. But it was a little, I won't say confusing, but I guess we all just wished, well, why don't they just get back together and do a big concert? I remember thinking that. I remember thinking I didn't really know. I didn't want the current stuff to end. I liked what they were doing.
Yeah,
with the current band.
we said that last episode, Carnival of Souls episode. Yeah,
But a big concert, like a big concert or whatever, would have been cool. That's what I was.
One though.
Well, that's what I was thinking, like a big concert or maybe a little tour or whatever. But I didn't.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I didn't want the current lineup to end.
Right.
Because I thought that I thought they had kind of come back from the dead, integrity-wise.
Yeah, and let's talk about what they were coming back from when they did this album. Revenge came out in '92. That tour lasted the rest of the year. Then they were getting the Kiss My Ass compilation together with various artists, Lenny Kravitz and people like that. What else?
Stevie Wonder on harmonica.
Oh, yeah.
That's so killer.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder on harmonica.
To be able to get Stevie Wonder on a Kiss tribute album.
That blows me away.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of that, the Melvins should have been on there. Going blind. Should have.
The Melvins they're on Hard to Believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first Kiss tribute CD or album ever, right? Was it the first?
I think so. And Nirvana's on it.
Nirvana doing Do You Love Me?
Doing Do You Love Me really bad. I didn't hear it for years, and I finally heard it, and they're making a mockery of the song, basically.
It starts out somewhat serious, but by the end of it, it's pretty silly. Yeah. And there's a story about Gene calling up Nirvana. I think they were in the studio doing In Utero.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's like, this is Gene Simmons of Kiss. I'd like to talk to, whoever. Cobain or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't think Cobain got on the phone, but he talked to, I believe...
Grohl, right?
Somebody, might have been the producer, actually. And he was wanting Nirvana to be on Kiss My Ass. Yeah, and they were recording demos for their next album, which ended up, of course, being Carnival of Souls. But the summer of '95, they decided to do a convention tour. Again, Kiss conventions were a big thing in the '90s, and Kiss jumped on their own bandwagon, so to speak, and did their own Kiss conventions. I think they had seized all their old uniforms back by this point. Costumes, whatever you want to call them.
Yep, there's some costumes up above in the video if you look. There's some
Yeah.
costumes up there.
Yeah, and the floor is Rock and Roll Over.
Yeah.
And of course the Kiss logo behind them. But so they go on this convention tour, summer of '95. I was at the Seattle one, June 20th, '95. I remember seeing Tommy Thayer with his short hair walking around. He was like, the manager of the whole thing, getting things set up. They had Eric's old Hawk costume. Yeah. Got my picture taken next to that, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was just a fun day, and they really pulled out some obscure songs. I'm just looking at various set lists from the tour. I mean, Let's Put the X in Sex. I mean, okay, not my favorite Kiss song, but all the way. Whoa, they did Let's Put the S in Sex twice at this show.
Probably trying to remember the lyrics the second time. Okay, we'll do it again.
Sex Type Thing.
If you guys sing it.
It is Sex Type Thing.
Is that supposed to be...
Shandy, Charisma, Simple Type.
I thought that was maybe what they were trying to...
Now, if you pull up on YouTube one of these convention shows, basically it's them sitting there with acoustic guitars and the crowd yelling at them the whole time.
It sounds nuts.
Yeah. Like just Almost Human, all these different songs, and and
that's why on Unplugged, Paul is saying stuff like, "All right, well, what are we gonna play?" They're kind of looking at the crowd. They're in that mode of freeform shit where just people are shouting out stuff. But really, I mean, they had their thing figured out. But that's why they're kind of in that mode. Like, we're just going to go out there and see what happens.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it when we go through the tracks. But they did do some sillier songs for a bit during this segment. We'll get to that. But yeah, so they're doing this convention tour, and MTV approached them. To be specific, Alex Coletti, who was a huge Kiss fan, he's the producer of all the Unpluggeds. He's like, hey, we'd love to have you guys on. And from what I understand, it was his idea to have Ace and Peter there. So Peter, who came to one of the conventions with his daughter and got up and sang Hard Luck Woman, that really didn't have anything to do with why Peter and Ace ended up. It was Alex's idea. But Gene said, okay. Oh, Gene actually called up Eric Singer and asked his permission to have Peter involved, which I thought was cool. That's a classy move, Gene.
It worked out good for Eric in the long run. The real long run.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, they end up doing this. They taped this August 9th, 1995, the same day Jerry Garcia died. The very same day.
Whoa.
Yes. But they rehearsed for like a week at a time. And they did again at Sony Studios, August 9th, 1995. I have the set list here in front of me. We're going to go through the tracks on the actual album, or the CD actually, and the album has a bonus track. And we'll tell you what we think of all these.
I think it's really interesting, dude, from, what is it, guy from Stars?
Richie Rano.
Yeah. Gets a hold of
who was married to Lydia Chris.
Gets a hold of a storage unit. It's got a bunch of Kiss stuff in it. That turns into kind of like the conventions. Paul and Gene make their own conventions, run by Tommy. Interesting how it's all connected. But if that guy hadn't gotten that storage unit, I mean, would this have happened, or at least would it have happened at this point? Kind of crazy.
That's where it all began, right?
Yeah,
there.
that's a crazy turn of events. But
Richie Rano, yeah, he ran a lot of conventions, and also, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he play on Gene Simmons' solo album? I believe he played a solo on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all these connections, it all came together, and thus was born the convention tour that led to Unplugged. Okay. Again, Alex Coletti hears about these conventions. Oh, Kiss is doing an Unplugged tour, basically. Let's get him in here. And now we're going to go through the track by track, and we're going to cover all bases. The VHS. Remember these, kids? The CD, of course, the standard American one we have here, and the vinyl, which has a bonus track. All right, so starting off, Coming Home. Again, Coming Home in 1995 was a holy shit moment. That was like, they're doing Coming Home. It's like, that deep track from Hotter Than Hell.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
not only that, but the deep track from Hotter Than Hell starting this. I mean, opening up the concert, that was cool. Plus, it's called Coming Home. And I always noticed that, of course, that Coming Home,
And they're in New York City.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah,
I mean, coming home to the makeup thing, just come to that era, Coming Home,
Oh, that too. So,
yeah.
Some double, triple meaning there. But yeah, it's incredible, and we've all, gotten used to the song, throughout the years. It's now if Kiss sit down with acoustic guitars, they're going to do that. It's now it's a standard for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Coming Home's incredible. Great opening to the show, and they were a well-oiled machine by this point.
Yeah.
They probably played this song 30 times in the last 2 months. Plaster Caster's next, same kind of thing. Never played this live before conventions. Now it's standard, of course, when they do their sound checks or whatever. But yeah, incredible. So you got your Rare Paul song and now the Gene song. So yeah, Plaster Caster, amazing. I love it. I mean, those two back to back, they're kind of synonymous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got Huey Lewis behind me. He's like just staring over my shoulder the whole time.
Yeah, he's making you nervous.
By the way, Peter and I both picked albums, and we'll probably do this all the time, to put behind us.
They're like our gargoyles. Yeah.
I just want to go on record saying I picked the Fleetwood Mac album. Which Huey album is that?
I just want to go on record and saying I picked This Is It, Do Up. No, This Is It is from, I think, the next album, maybe. But I love early Huey, Come on.
Sports?
Horses, I mean...
That right there.
That's a killer album.
That is the best Fleetwood Mac album without Stevie and Lindsay.
That is a killer album.
Although they do have some really good albums. Yeah, that's... Yeah, Peter Green.
And behind my head, I put up the poster. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
I made a poster from the Evolution of Kiss pictures. I used to have a poster printer, and I found this during my move, and I'll take a picture of it and put it up here, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I noticed that last time I was there. Yeah,
I'd sell them if I if I wasn't going to get busted.
You'd get busted.
They're pretty cool.
They'd sue your ass.
Yeah.
Okay, so the album. So yeah, Coming Home, Plaster Caster, good 1-2 punch, and then one of the highlights for me, Going Blind. Okay, we had mentioned the Melvins had just recently covered this, right? So the Kiss themselves did this. They actually pulled this out and were doing this on tour for a while, like in '94, maybe early 95 as well. So they were no stranger to this song, doing it live, but man, in this acoustic setting, love it. Absolutely love it. One of the highlights for me, we'll get to the other highlight later, but
It's definitely live too. You can hear Gene doesn't come in all that strong with his vocal. A little flat till he gets on it. Till he really gets on top of it. But it's really cool that that's on there.
and
That song has always had cool chords and lends itself to acoustic, you know.
and Gene brings back the line "Little Lady from the Land Beneath the Sea"
Yeah.
from the original demo from like 1970 or something. So cool that brought that back. Yeah, absolutely love it. Going Blind. I'm gonna put that in one of probably my top 5 Kiss songs that has just keeps rising throughout the years. It's like, it's getting near the top 10 without a doubt. I love it. Absolutely love it. So next, Do You Love Me?
Out of these, that's the first one I don't know. You want to do, Tonight You Belong to Me or something instead? Like that's what I'm thinking, because it's not a really great chord-based song.
No,
Since you got two guys on acoustics.
No. I think is this the only song from Destroyer?
Do You Love Me? Honestly, it's never really been that fun live for me. Has it really been a showstopper for you, or what?
Oh, no. You got to put a song from Destroyer, though, right? And that's the one they chose. Oh, wait, Beth. Excuse me, Beth.
Yeah, Beth.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's Do You Love Me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fine.
They weren't going to do Sweet Pain, probably because of the lyrics on MTV. They weren't even doing Sweet Pain on the tour.
Here's one for you.
Were they? I don't think they were.
No, but I just thought maybe they thought Do You Love Me was kind of hip to do that now that Nirvana did it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because this was like the year after Kurt died, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sweet Pain would have been cool. How cool would that be? Oh man.
Yeah.
So, I
want to say it's a great sounding album too.
Oh yes.
I think the video and the album might be different mixes. And there's a full. It's pretty easy to find. There's a full outtakes and everything of the concert, where like they're starting to spit over like 4 different times or whatever, because it's a mouthful. Regine, no pun intended.
Whoa!
Pun intended.
See what he did there?
But the album, I haven't put the video on and just put it through the speakers lately, but the CD at least, it's a really good mix. It sounds super good. On the last album, that hadn't been released yet, but they were starting to work on, I guess, at this point. Eric's, Carnival. His toms are kind of quiet in the mix at times. That's not happening here. His toms are loud. His toms are loud and proud on this album. They sound good. He sounds really good. I mean, God, his tempo and feel. He's really good. He does have he's a pro drummer. He has a pro drummer feel. You know what I mean? He doesn't have the type of loose Peter Criss personality type.
Which is weird because they're playing together later. So, is Peter trying to play less loose, or is Eric trying to loosen himself up to match the other guy? So, yeah, they play good together though. So up next, well, just really quick about what he said about how good of a drummer Eric Singer is, and you really notice on this album. That's the thing about this album is it's bare bones. It's like if there's a weak link in the band, you're gonna know.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's not. Like Gene's bass lines. I mean, like he was saying about how good the album sounds. Everything's crystal clear. Like you can tell Paul's guitar from Bruce's. Bruce. We've talked a lot about Bruce lately because we've done Revenge and Carnival lately. Last 2 episodes actually, and Bruce was on top of his game.
And he's really doing Ace's solos pretty much spot on for the most part. Sometimes he's filling in figures a little bit, like where Ace would maybe leave a note hang kind of long. It's an acoustic, it doesn't sustain. So Bruce hits the note, but he'll do a little rundown off it or something, probably to fill in that space, because I've heard some interviews where Bruce is talking about he's playing an acoustic. It wasn't totally comfortable, but I think he thinks they did fine. But I remember him saying some stuff about the acoustic not sustaining, and I noticed in listening to the solos this week a little bit that he does Ace's solo spot on, but he's filling in some spots.
Yeah.
Because he's on that acoustic, I think. You know,
Well, again, he'd been doing this all summer as well. Like,
he's playing an Ovation too. Ovations are, you know, like the back of it's like fiberglass, like they're bright acoustics. That really adds to the chiminess, the brightness of the album. You know.
yeah, kind of, you know, going off of something I said earlier. Not a fan of acoustic guitar solos, really.
From
But-
the beginning. Oh, that's electric, isn't it? That isn't electric.
Yeah. See, no, like he just brought up an ELP song, but you know, Dylan, you know, Nick Drake, Neil Young. I love acoustic music. You know, those songs aren't necessarily known for guitar solos. Kiss have cool fucking guitar solos, and I want them to sound like they do on the albums.
Yeah.
With all that said, Bruce does a great job playing these solos. He
Yeah.
really does. He fills in the spaces.
And Paul too.
and Paul,
On that here, you know,
World Without Heroes.
World Without Heroes song. I mean, Paul does his solo. Although, you know, when he does the climb up, and he does it twice. You know that little walk up he does? He fucks it up on here. And if you watch, there's a really common video of them on the convention tours, and he pulls it off great. And Paul, when you listen to Paul's solo on there, on the convention tour, on here, his bends, when he's doing that one bend.
And
that's-
Fridays.
Oh yeah, but I mean on acoustic even,
Yeah,
you can
okay.
hear his pitch. He's bending. I think there's a point in the World Without Heroes where he's bending up like a step and a half, and he nails it. He bends right up to the note really nice. He has nice vibrato.
Yeah.
Way to go, Paul.
Yeah, no, okay.
That's for me not. There you go, Paul. For me not liking your songs from the last two.
There's our
albums.
thumbnail. Really
But
quick.
Paul's great. Paul's
no,
great.
no. I was gonna say, if I picked an MVP, it's Mr. Paul Stanley. His vocals, he's in charge the whole time. He's the ringmaster of the show. You know, Paul is on.
He's being likable on the mic. He's being lighthearted, and he's being cool. You know, yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
They got their long hair rocking again, or it's people like to say wigs at this point. Whatever. I
don't
don't know how much was.
This
a
is
wig
all
at
I'm
this
gonna
point.
say about that. Watch Unplugged. Could Paul's hair look any more full?
Yeah.
But
James-
watch the rehearsals like the day before,
Uh-huh.
and Paul's got a baseball cap on,
Oh yeah.
like a really tight one too.
Oh yeah.
With just the ponytail coming out the back. It's like, how do you fit all of that hair under that tight hat?
He's got some extensions and things going
There's
on.
extensions.
Probably. Yeah.
But
there's-
we're not here to talk about Paul's hair. It looks good on camera.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just say
Heck
that.
yeah. I mean, dude, people get older.
Yeah.
Not everybody's blessed with hair like me. It's going back a little bit.
yeah.
Heck, what are you gonna do?
No, yeah.
So Bruce has got the Ovation. Then if you look here, Ace has got like a Fender style guitar, even with like the burst, you know, to keep in with his Ace Frehley theme, his classic theme. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. The Sunburst acoustic guitar.
I'm not sure what Paul's using. Probably Gibson or something. What is that? Is that Ibanez? Gibson. I think Paul's using Gibson.
I don't know. I don't have my readers on. I can't tell.
Yeah.
But so getting back to the track listing, Sure Know Something, which again, they had never done this live.
It sounds great live. you
I'm
know?
sure they did it at a convention.
You got chords.
This one convention set list, I see it.
Yeah. It's on the convention video I was watching. It's on it. They're
Yeah.
rocking it. Like it's got chords, strumming chords in there, and then the bass line is carrying this melodic thing. Boom, 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 boom. It works out great. In a live setting, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. The background vocals are spot on.
He sings it great.
Now, I think well, of course, they released Rock and Roll Night as a single. We got to have everybody on there, right? The original band. But Sure Know Something, I mean, that to me, it should have been a bigger hit than it was, you know. This would have been its second chance. You know, if there was a second single from the album, I would hope that would probably be it. But it's a great rendition. So, yeah. 2 thumbs up for that one. Now, A World Without Heroes. So, I remember at the time when this came out, that's what blew me away the most, the fact they put this on the album.
Well, yeah.
Because they always shunned that album. You know, they basically almost denied it. Like, You know, but A World Without Heroes, you know, it was great on Fridays. I loved Gene's vocals on that. That was a good version of that. We just talked about Paul's solo on that. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the fact they did it, you know, it lends itself well to the acoustic setting, obviously. You know, can you imagine if they would have did Just a Boy? Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just a boy. They wouldn't have done that.
No, World Without Heroes.
Yeah.
One of my highlights, without a doubt. You know, we were just talking about Paul, and he's my MVP for the album. But you know, Gene's right up there. You know, we are Gene lovers, man. There's one thing I came to realize doing a show with him is, man, we fucking love Gene. Yeah, see? See?
Yeah, and you know how the people love to hate like Animalized Gene and stuff like that? God, to me it's just the best.
Come
it's
on.
the best shit, you know?
I
love it. I love it.
That was, oh, funny story. I was about to say that was the best wig he ever had on that tour. But I actually, I might have sent you the link. Someone was selling that wig on eBay.
No way.
I don't know if it was the actual. It made it look like it was the actual one.
With the band? The little band there?
I don't think it had the band.
Oh my gosh, really?
Wait, Peter, are you saying that band held the wig on? Yeah, I figured that too. But no, I didn't see the band.
Dude, that was a cool look for Gene.
But yeah, somebody was selling the actual wig. Again, I'm not here to verify whether it was the actual one on Gene's head.
Yeah.
But
you know, we skipped on the video here.
Oh.
Got to choose after
Domino. Well, here's why we skipped it, Peter.
Not on the album.
On the vinyl, it's the last song.
Yeah, interesting.
So I was going by the vinyl listing here. But yeah, got to choose. They actually did that between Domino and Sure Know Something. And, you know, I don't know why they didn't include it on this little bad boy right here.
This should have been a double. This could have been a double album.
Yeah, exactly. Without a doubt. Yeah, God to Choose is incredible on here. It really is. It's like, again, Paul the MVP totally nails the vocals. And it's just such a good song. It's a well-written song.
Also, God of Thunder. Remember they do a boom chuck version.
No,
right?
we're gonna get to that because
is it on here?
They do.
It's not on your vinyl.
No. They do like 4 or 5 songs towards the end. We're gonna get to that.
That's a pretty good version of God of Thunder.
I like
actually.
it. It's
kind of funny,
it's
but
fun.
yeah.
It's a fun listen.
Yeah, this could have been a double CD.
So yeah, Got to Choose is on here and the vinyl, but not on this. And I don't know why, because it's incredible. It must have been a time issue. But you know, if it's a time issue, why not take off every time I look at you and put on Got to Choose? You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Paul song for a Paul song.
Yeah.
Rock Bottom. Okay, obviously.
It's got the acoustic intro.
Yeah,
so they're
the acoustic intro, which is short on here, but perfect. Mm-hmm. And then it rocks. I mean, it's nice to hear like they inject some rock into this whole thing. Like Paul says, it's about to get rough, and it does, and it's a great version. And of course they would pull that out a year later for the reunion tour. But yeah, Rock Bottom. I mean, they could have did any song off Dressed to Kill. Would have pleased this guy.
You would have been pooping.
Oh, can you imagine like Two-Timer on here? How cool would that have been? You know, Getaway, anything for my baby.
And Ladies in Waiting. For me, that little section of the album, that's the highlight of the album. Every time I hear those 2 songs. And they've never celebrated those songs really over the years.
Never.
They've barely ever done them on, I mean, cruises and stuff a little bit and whatever, but not what, to me, not what they deserve. Two-Timer and Ladies in Waiting. Holy shit, that's a badass. To me, those 2 songs are kind of like Heartbreaker and Live and Love and Made or whatever. You know, it's a little set of songs that just boom boom, you know.
A couple of 2.5 minute Gene, you know, masterpieces.
Yeah.
You know, it's like incredible, absolutely incredible. Go to our Dress to Kill episode and hear us worship that album and those songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, they chose Rock Bottom, and that's fine. It's. I mean, I have no complaints about that.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing well at this. They already knew what they were doing well. They knew what to put in the set list. So.
And now, See You Tonight. How effing cool is it that they chose to do this? You know, I would assume I'm looking here at a set list.
It's the only song on the album, on the original album, from a solo album.
Yeah, I would assume they probably started doing this during the convention tour, and you know, they realized how good it sounded. It would be perfect for this, and sure enough, Gene nails it, man.
Paul
And
singing on it too.
they nailed the oohs and ahs. You know,
Yeah.
Mitch Weissman would be proud.
Mhm.
And yeah, absolutely love it. And that and Going Blind are my highlights. Although I know I called Paul the MVP of the album, but it's just everybody has such a strong performance on this album.
Yeah.
You know, I could easily highlight anybody. You know, we'll even get to Ace and Peter later. You know, so yeah, See You Tonight. 2 minutes and 26 seconds of pure bliss. Love it, love it. They could have did. You know, any song of Gene solo album, I would have been happy.
Yeah, totally, because you never got to hear that. Yeah.
Or what if they pulled out, you know, like Ain't Quite Right or something? Take Me Away. You know, they did a Gene solo song, why not a Paul one?
There's a lot of stuff on the Paul album that would have lent itself to acoustics, of course, but...
Hold Me, Touch Me?
Yeah.
No, we're kidding about that. That leads us into I Still Love You. Although, you know, yeah, it's not, you know, it's my least favorite song, Creatures, you know. I understand why it's on here, you know.
It's another really obvious acoustic choice.
Yeah, it's a powerhouse performance. Paul, you know, some people don't like his vocal gymnastics in it, but, you know, the song is building and building, and that's kind of like the highlight of it. Yeah, it's the apex of the song right there. I
think it's a Vinny, the verse is a Vinny progression, isn't it?
Probably.
I think it is. I think it started with Vinny.
Yeah.
It's got, if I was playing it last night, because I was, you know, you got open E and you play a power chord on B. You know what I mean? Second fret A string, and what you got? You got like 20 songs. You got boom 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 boom. You got Sanitarium. You got one boom 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 boom. You know what I mean? And if you don't pick the E and you just pick up from the B, boom, you got I Still Love You. You know.
Well,
all these songs are in the same.
Just listen to the Humble Pie song they ripped off.
Yeah, that too. That too. Yeah.
Yeah, I Still Love You. Again, you know, not my favorite, but I totally understand it being here.
Yeah.
So with that
it's
said,
a vocal showcase. You know.
With that said, the next song, don't really understand why it's here.
What's next?
Every Time I Look at You.
Yeah. Well.
Now, don't get me wrong, it's fine. He sings it well. It was from their most recent album at the time, Revenge. Yeah. So I understand them wanting to include it.
Yeah, Gene's doing Domino and Spit, so Paul's like, you know, Paul wants a current, right? Paul wants a current choice.
And we should mention, because you start thinking, what could have been in its place? They did do Hard Luck Woman at the show. Yeah. With Paul singing. And it was great. I mean, watch it on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Maybe they could have traded it for Spit.
Spit was a joke. We'll get to that.
They did it.
I know they did it, but it was like, we're going to get to that. We're getting to that. But, I mean, it's Every Time I Look at You is fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a hater. Mm-hmm. But think of all the other songs that could have. Mainline. How about that? I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Peter sang that. He wasn't out there yet. You know,
true.
Two-timer. Back to that. You know, Ladies in Waiting. But, you know, these are deep songs.
Yeah.
And I will say this. The fans that were there were huge fans. Because when they did Spit, the crowd basically sang it. The crowd knew the lyrics to Spit. So, yeah, these were huge fans who were at this show. So they would have understood Ladies in Waiting or whatever. But anyway, yeah, Every Time I Look at You, it's fine. We're not ranking on it. Would have preferred something else. But then Paul introduces that there's members of the family there. And it's not Mom and Dad. Peter and Ace come out. And at this point, Bruce and Eric kind of exit. And they, and first of all, chaos. The crowd is going crazy. And they go into 2000 Man.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that rendition?
That's a funny song to start with.
It is.
It's cool, but it's kind of funny to start with that.
Were they like thinking, well, it's almost the year 2000, we should do this, you know, it's timely now. I don't know. But it is a song they did on the last tour together, all four of those guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I will mention this. Ace wanted to do Shock Me, but that solo wouldn't come across
Oh, really?
acoustically.
Yeah.
So they chose 2009 instead. Now, they could have done New York Groove. They were in New York, right? So, but still, they chose 2000 Man. But yeah, it's let's face it, it's simple to play too. When you watch the video, of course, from Kiss MTV Unplugged on VHS and Beta. Actually, I don't know if it was on Beta. Was this ever on Beta? Betas are like this
Wasn't
big.
that past the beta era a little
Yeah,
bit?
probably.
Yeah.
If you watch that, Ace is really concentrating. He doesn't want to mess this one up. And there's a scene when he's playing and singing, and say you're Ace playing and singing. Paul, I see, it's like the camera's like over here, so you can see Paul looking at him, and Paul's just kind of like, and I can kind of see Paul sizing him up, like, would this guy, can he do this still? Like, would he be able to like do a reunion tour? Now, with that said, Ace nails it. Great job.
He also nails the solo on Beth, which there never was a solo.
True.
It's a little, it's almost a little jagged. He's playing it like it's an electric guitar, I suppose, but like he's playing over these chord changes. He's got it all worked out, and he pulls it off though.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I watched that last night. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second.
Because there is some chord changes happening. I'm like, is he gonna? He did it.
You know
Sounded
what?
Great.
It's the next song, so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
This one I want to mention about Beth. Everybody watching this has heard it. Some of you probably love it. Great song. Great song. This version is very, very special, very sentimental. Now, watch the video, people. Peter, at the end of this, it's one of the most touching moments in history I've ever seen. First of all, when the song ends, and you can hear him get emotional during the line, "We'll be playing all night." And then at the end, he's like, "We love you," that whole thing. He literally reaches over, kisses Gene on the lips. It's really, really touching to see. He goes over to Ace. He has a moment with each guy. And Peter is like, he pulls the heartstrings. Yeah, it's really touching. I was watching last night. I was like, whoa. It's like, I had never like noticed that before. Like, Peter is really, really.
The crowd went nuts too.
Oh yeah,
the crowd went nuts for Beth for sure.
Now Ace comes out, to do 2000. He's just cool Ace. You know what I mean? He even says a few things in the mic. He's Ace fucking Frehley. Peter is like, he's just glad to be there. He's thankful. He's grateful.
Paul always says that in the books and everything. And
Yeah.
Peter was really thankful for the first couple of years.
Yeah. Peter's actually, you hear the stories of him in the 70s, with the attitude problem and, sabotaging, the shows, slowing down the tempos and stuff. And although he did do that once towards the end of the farewell tour, like Peter, like he really has impressed me, like in the later years. He's grown up really. But yeah, that was a really touching moment. That's like I'm not gonna say it brought tears in my eyes, but I was like, whoa, that's some emotion right there on stage. So good on Peter. Good on Peter. So with that said, let's bring the other guys out and do Nothing to Lose. So they say that Bruce and Eric got booed when they came back out. Now, whatever edit I was watching on YouTube, I don't hear a lot of that. I hear some Bruce, that kind of stuff. Now, maybe they really did, because Ace does say into the mic, "Come on, they're members of the family too."
Yeah.
Now, if you were at that show and you booed Eric and Bruce coming out, shame on you, because yes, Ace was right, they're members of the family, but come on, there wouldn't be a Kiss without those guys. You know what I mean? They kept it going all those years, well, I guess Eric just for the couple years prior, but anyway, that's either here nor there. Nothing to Lose.
I think it's cool that's the first song they did with them because that's the first song that Kiss really pushed.
It was their first single.
First single, pushed it hard.
So with that said, let Eric Singer sing it. What's that about?
Yeah.
No, Eric's a great singer. We know that.
Yeah.
Does a great job. Of course, Peter's doing his ad libs and all that. And he's making the song his own, right? So yeah, Nothing Lose is great. Great version. Love it. So
they
then,
made it like a drummer thing.
yeah.
It's the drummer.
Both drummers are singing, and they're playing together perfectly.
Putting them on kind of even keel, I suppose.
There you go. Definitely.
So it was cool.
And watch Peter during that having the time of his life. Absolutely love it. Love the emotion from Peter. Rock and Roll Night. It's rock and roll night. What can you say? It's a 4-minute and 20-second party on stage.
It's gonna sound like what it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's rock and roll night. It was a single. It's a good version. Oh, they're trading verses. That's kind of different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Paul's the only one who doesn't sing a verse, right? Yeah.
So, at the time, I thought this was so exciting, even though, like we were both kind of lukewarm about the album. I mean, it was good. I liked it. I put it on once in a while. But it wasn't like this. It wasn't like a killer new album. Like when you get a new album by a band and like, holy shit. And when Justice came out or whatever, it's like, this is a blast from the past. This is like, and I thought it was cool. There was so much stuff going on that I was just happy that the Kiss world was so active at the time with that book. And I didn't go to the convention tour, but I definitely knew about it. I knew that there was a lot going on in the Kiss camp. So, and yeah, this is where it went. And how many months was it before they said they're going to do the reunion tour after this?
So yeah, let's get into the timeline of the whole thing.
It's pretty quick, right?
Before we get into the timeline, Peter, I want to highlight some songs that... So this is what happened. So they did their regular set, right? So after Every Time I Look at You, they had to set up Peter's drums, Peter's drum set. So Kiss was kind of fooling around with the crowd, doing some sillier stuff, right? So the first thing they did was spit. And if you watch the video, you can see Peter's drum set being set up behind them. This was not, I mean, if it would have turned out incredible, they probably would have put it on the album or something. But they were more like fooling around, having fun. So they did spit. And surprisingly, Peter, it comes off pretty damn good acoustically.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier, the crowd basically sings the song. So how big of Kiss fans do you have to be to sing along to spit? That's cool. Then they did Come On and Love Me. That's a song I could have seen not being a song they played for fun, but being included in the set. But it was a good version. And then, oh, that's ironic. It's playing right now for us. God of Thunder country version. I like it. Let's
hear it.
You want to hear it?
Turn it up a little bit.
Let's turn it up.
Yeah.
This is from the Detroit convention.
When I was about 4 years old,
They did
Oh, sorry.
on
friendly
the
with the farm animals, you say.
Gene and his farm animals joke. Okay.
on Unplugged they did God of Thunder more concisively boom chuck country style,
If anybody thinks they're being serious right there, they're not. They're having fun. But they do a decent version of that. I like it. I like it. So they did that. And then, Heaven's on Fire, I forgot to mention. They actually did Heaven's on Fire, too. So those
which
were
is interesting.
Yeah.
Not a song you think lends itself to acoustic guitars.
No, it's actually not bad, though. Watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Again, this is when they're just setting up Peter's drums. So, the crowd was shitting their pants at this point. They're
Power
like,
chords on acoustic. What?
Like, who's this second drum set for?
Yeah.
I'm sure word got out.
I think the Rock and Roll Over stage gave it away.
I'm sure word got out that Ace and Peter were there. But yeah, so those 4 songs were performed, and then, okay, now let's take this more serious. And then that's when they brought out Ace and Peter. So, anyway, the album, it was recorded August 9th, 95. It aired on MTV on Halloween '95, and then in Kiss World they start recording Carnival of Souls in November. So they are doing Carnival knowing, wow, this MTV thing went off pretty damn well.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the back of their minds as they're doing Carnival. At the very end of Carnival in, I think, late January, they're mixing it and stuff. Gene and Paul pull Eric and Bruce aside and they tell them, this is what's going on. They kept Eric and Bruce on retainer. You know, they were still getting paid because they did not know if the reunion tour was even going to last.
Yeah.
You know, like, are Peter and Ace going to be able to do this? And I listened to an interview with Eric. God, what was it on? I want to say it was on Cassius Morris, the podcaster. And Eric said the most surprising thing to him hearing this from Gene and Paul was, really? You think Ace and Peter are going to be able to do that? Because according to Eric, from what he witnessed during rehearsals and everything for Unplugged, he didn't think Ace and Peter were going to be able to pull it off.
I really do think by that first year of touring, you watch the videos towards the end of the tour, and I really do think they tightened up a lot over that period of months. At first, it was a little loose.
Yeah. And we all know what to watch if you want to watch reunion tour, kind of things.
Yeah.
Second Coming, the documentary. But so, although this aired Halloween '95, this didn't come out till March '96. So by that point, Kiss had already been on the Grammys in full makeup, announcing, the upcoming reunion. I don't think they hadn't did the press conference yet with Conan, on the ship, announcing all the tour dates, Tiger Stadium and all that. But once everything went on sale, tickets go on sale, sells out literally in like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I seen this tour in Tacoma. Actually, we're in Tacoma right now, but I seen it down the street at the Tacoma Dome in '95. Yeah, in August '95. No, '96. Excuse me. And then again in Seattle '97.
Mm-hmm.
The Lost Cities tour. Seattle was a lost city. But yeah, we all know what happened after they got back together. It was the most successful tour of the year, and it all started basically because of the four guys getting together for the previous year. Anything else you want to say about the reunion?
No, not really. I mean, I was excited it happened. I was excited this happened. I think anytime you revisit the past, it's not going to be. It'll really never be like what it was. Those little details, those things you don't think about at the time. That's really what makes it mad. You look at Metallica on stage now. One of the biggest bands in the world, of course. They got their beautifully clean stage and their LED lights, and you look at them on stage, it just doesn't look insane like a Master of Puppet show did. Smoke everywhere and fights and stuff. It was nuts. You know what I mean? Like, the old days are always going to be the old days, but I think it's really cool that they got together, and I think it's really cool that the makeup came back on. Of course, I'm sad that that this quartet ended, but
yeah,
what are you gonna do? For a long time, I thought, why don't they do both? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like do a Peter Ace album and do a Bruce, and I guess it's silly. I was just being dumb, young and dumb. It ain't gonna work.
Yeah. Well, really quick, like I mentioned, Eric and Bruce were on retainer. They, a couple months into the reunion tour, had a meeting with Eric and Bruce. Did I say Peter? I don't know. Eric and Bruce. They had a meeting with Eric and Bruce and told them, okay, well, we're going to stay in the makeup and continue on with this, so you're free to do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric said in this interview, I heard, that he really respected the fact that they sat down with them face to face. It wasn't through lawyers or anybody else, and told them that. So, and of course, they would call on Eric's services later on, wouldn't they? Yeah, so that is the story of Kiss Unplugged and how it led to the reunion of the original four.
probably weirder for Bruce because Bruce had been in the band like 11 years at that point.
Yeah, but
That's a while.
Bruce had gone on record telling Eric anyway that he knew this date was going to happen.
Really?
Yeah, I think Eric was more shocked. Again, he just didn't think Peter and Ace could pull it off. So now, as far as what ended up transpiring, I think our next episode will probably be what, Psycho Circus, since that would be the next logical album to do, and we'll get into more of that.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's Psycho Circus. We could do Kiss My Ass, but I don't know if would we do a whole episode on that? I'm not sure.
Kiss My Ass?
I don't know.
I don't know if I feel like talking about Toad the Wet Sprocket for 20 minutes.
That's a good version of Rock and Roll All Night.
No, it's
actually a good version. I like the way they
Yeah.
actually changed it instead of just doing the same.
Definitely. We'll figure it out. It'll just lead into a Stevie Wonder conversation for a half hour.
That's true. See, that's good. That's
Okay.
good.
Have you seen Stevie Wonder's house?
No.
Either C.
Either a Z. Ding, ding, ding,
All
ding,
right.
ding.
Thanks for tuning in. And Huey, Peter, and myself say see you next time.